Hey, so we're live. Wanted to kind of go back over a couple of quick things real quick. One, we're going to do questions and comments and stuff on Fridays. We're already getting a whole bunch about the calories in, calories out thing. And I'm super excited about going through all of that. Very rarely do I just straight up come out and be like, you're wrong. But if you're basing all of your health and wellness or fat loss or energy function off of calories in, calories out, you're wrong. So, but we'll go into that and all the fun hate that I'm getting for that on Friday. We'll go through that. Today, I wanted to start with something that's really important. I know we were going to talk about supplements. We're going to talk about a little bit of that today. But the most important thing we have to do is get the gut ready for everything we're doing. So I did this in a little bit out of order because that's how I learned things. I've been working on gut stuff and nutrition for 15 years. And I didn't start learning about psychedelics and mental function and all of that until very recently. So the way that we do it now is differently in the clinic, at least. It's different than the way I did it. So I'll kind of give you the way that I do it now because I think it's a better way. When we evaluate gut issues, if you've got ulcerative colitis, IBS, celiac, GERD, if you've got actual stuff going on, ulcers in your gut, we have to fix all those first. So we'll fix those. Then, because the maintenance is really difficult with mental stuff, we'll come back later and then do the mental and then do the maintenance. But if you're like, my gut's not that bad, I mean, I've got, gas and bloating and this and that, but, it's not that big of a deal. But we evaluate and we find out that your stress level, your chronic stress level, your past stress level has been really high. That's what leads to more PTSD stuff. So anybody can have PTSD. You don't have to be in a battle zone and getting shot at. You don't have to be a first responder, seeing horrible things, fishing as the 4-year-olds out of swimming pools, like all the horrible, terrible things our firefighters and paramedics and police officers have to deal with. You don't have to be that guy. You can be a mom who just has to deal with being a mom and making the bills work and dealing with the constant stress of, hey, mom, hey, mom, hey, mom, hey, mom. Like, it drives me nuts and I'm not the mom. So, like, that type of thing. Dealing with the world, dealing with, what's going to happen this year. Everybody's, unless you're living under a rock, you're talking about how horrible and terrible this year is probably going to end up being just because of everything that's going on in the world. There's lots of things that create stress. And that can push us closer to a sympathetic state, which is really kind of, in my interpretation, what PTSD does, is we've had all this stress, and this stress has shifted us into a hypervigilant state, which is a sympathetic state. Neurology-wise, you've got two states: sympathetic, which is fight, flight, freeze; parasympathetic, which is resting, digesting. So think of it this way. If you go, you know what, my daily life and laying on the beach with a Mai Tai in my hand, watching the waves roll in, I see no difference in my stress level there. Like, it's the same thing to me. Well, then you're in a parasympathetic state. And if you're like, that doesn't sound like me, it's because it's not. Like, nobody, unless you live on the beach and you're retired and you have billions of dollars, is in that state. We live in a world where it's constant pressure, constant stress, constant go, 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 constant threats in every type of imaginable function. And so most of us, 99% of us, live in this highly stressed out world that causes, at the end of the day, PTSD. And so the way I kind of explain that is you can have two types of stress. You can have flash fry, which is, I just got shot at, or, oh my gosh, there was a horrible wreck and this person I saw dead in the seat looked like my sister. Like that's like, oh my gosh, that all of a sudden horrible, terrible, instant hit. And then there's the slow, so that's flash, right? Cook something at 10,000 degrees for, a second. Or the slow, constant, like a smoker, like 200 degrees for 10 hours, right? That slow, every single day you wake up, you got to figure out how to make the bills work. Every single day you work up, you got to deal with that terrible manager. Every single day you wake up, you're going to get kicked in the teeth by life. That's also the type of stuff that creates PTSD. And so depending on how bad that is, because it really shuts off gut function, and there's all sorts of neurology and research on this. I'll give you some, but there's a ton out there. That over time can create the same type of PTSD. So that's why the psychedelics and the ketamine are so radically important. So we've got a lot of people who come in and we'll evaluate them. And I'll be like, look, we're going to start with some nutritional stuff for your gut, but we got to fix your mind because your mind is in direct control of your entire body. And so we'll go with the ketamine and psychedelics first. Then we'll come back to the mind stuff. I'm sorry, to the gut stuff. So having said all of that, the number one thing that I see that people have as an issue because of this constant stress and the sympathetic state that we're always in is it shuts off parasympathetic, which is resting, digesting. So it decreases hydrochloric acid production. So hydrochloric acid production is there not to digest your food necessarily, but more to clean it, to kill the viruses, kill the bacteria, kill the parasitic eggs, kill the parasites, kill the amoebas, kill all that jazz. So like for instance, if you look at an ulcer in the gut in the stomach is created by H. pylori. H. pylori cannot survive in a pH less than 3. Hydrochloric acid is a pH of 2. So lactic butyric acid, the things that cause GERD, are pHs of roughly 4. So H. pylori lives just fine. If you're stressed out, you stop producing hydrochloric acid, and you start producing weaker acids, which is why you have heartburn and GERD and ulcers. So the way that we fix this is real simple. We just give the body HCl, hydrochloric acid. That hydrochloric acid will kill the H. pylori, it'll kill the parasites, it'll kill the parasitic eggs, it'll kill all that stuff. The problem is that it's hot, it's burning. And so if you have an ulcer in your gut, you're going to know it because it's going to burn, it's going to hurt. So if you do, we go through, we use stomach complex as a tea, and then we go back through and use the HCl. So that's just the stomach. So you've now got, because of this decrease in neurologic state, this lack of parasympathetic function, you now have parasitic infections in your gut. Well, when you have a parasitic infection, it kills the probiotics, it eats them, and it creates an environment they can't live in. So regardless, the probiotics start to die. Well, nature abhors a vacuum. If you've heard that before, it's true. What happens is that the yeast that's always in your gut starts to take over. So you get a higher yeast issue. So you get gas and bloating. And because the parasites and the parasitic waste they produce, the gas and the bloating and the yeast issues, oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes what we see is people go back and forth between constipation, loose stools, or they're just not regular. They're bloating and gas, their stomach issues, and they just hurt. And it's always kind of a super irritating, but not like freak out type of stuff most of the time. And so that's typically what we see. So the way that we go through and do everything is the other problem with that is that it overloads, it reduces the amount of methylated B vitamins that your body is producing and utilizing. So bile salts start to congeal. And as the bile salts start to congeal, we start to lose liver functionality. We stop methylating our B vitamins, and everything starts kind of falling apart. So real quick, I do this all the time. If you've ever heard of gallstones, they don't really exist. And this is an important point. I'm not trying to make a small piece. This is the thing. This is my ring. This is my hand. This is my ring in my hand. It's not a hand ring. It's a ring I put in my hand. The reason I make that analogy is because gallstones are really liver stones. The gallbladder is a bag. It doesn't make anything. It just holds stuff that's put into it. Now, the liver makes bile and puts that bile into the gallbladder for the gallbladder to squirt onto the fat you eat to emulsify the fat and allow you to digest it properly. Well, what happens is when you lose methylated B6, your bile salts fall out of suspension. They start to congeal. When they start to congeal, they go from this like really cool, slick WD-40 type consistency into like a rubber cement type of thing. And so they congeal in these little tiny balls in the liver tubules. As the liver tubules kick them into the gallbladder, there's a bunch of these little balls, and the gallbladder squeezes them together into larger balls. And then as those larger balls of bile salts start to dehydrate, they will also start to calcify. And so that's where this whole process starts. So it's really a liver problem, not a gallbladder problem. So we kept the gallbladder out thinking, we fixed the problem. No, you didn't. You still have lack of methylated B6. You're not methylating properly, so you're going to have all sorts of liver issues. So taking a full spectrum methylated B6, that'll help with that. But parasites eat that. So you got to kill the parasites first. The number one best way to do that is with coffee enemas. So you do coffee enema, and inside the bowl, you're going to put, there's links to this on my YouTube page, Dr. Chalmers 1. You open up the capsules, the antiparasitics, you pour it into the coffee pot. When the coffee falls in on top of those powders, it makes like a tea. And so you have this coffee enema that has antiparasitic properties as well. And it's on pillars. It's all over the place. Like if you guys need it, we'll send it to you. But we might even post it in the links to this on Friday. We will post it on Friday. So that's how we do that one. Now there's another one that's on my website that's really good. It's the Superior Detox. The Superior Detox will help clear out parasites really, really well. But it still leaves you with yeast issues. And so after you've killed the parasites, you got to deal with the yeast issues. RFA is really good at that one. The reason I like the coffee enemas on top of those is because it also cleans the liver. And so you have to recognize that the liver and the kidneys are your detox organs. So the pathway out of the body. You have to feed these things so that they will work better. So kidney complex we use, kidney castor packs are fantastic. If you guys do castor packs, use a far infrared heat source on top of the castor pack. So 3 layers of cotton flannel, each one individually soaked with castor oil. And then on the skin, take a clear piece of plastic, put it over that, far infrared heating pad or far infrared sauna with direct radiation, that's fine. On top of that, 45 minutes or so, then throw the castor pack away. Great thing to do for your kidneys. Fantastic. We use it on the kids all the time. If they're sick, if they're getting they're becoming little jerks, and you're like, what is wrong with you? It's because they're starting to get sick. Their energy is being taken away from their body to fight whatever's going on. So if we allow the detox organs to drop faster, the body can pull that trash out of the body, put it in the detox organs to expel faster. So that's what you do. You got to make sure you clean the kidneys, then the liver, then kill the parasites, then kill the yeast. RFA, by the way, on the website, fantastic for yeast issues. And then once that's done, then you can start putting in collagen, B vitamins, and the probiotics back in. That's kind of how you walk through that one. So that's kind of on cleaning up the gut. Here's the big thing. We might do a little bit more on this. I'll definitely answer questions on this as much as you guys want. This is the biggest piece. I don't care what you're eating. I don't care what else you're taking. If your gut isn't where it's supposed to be, you're screwed. If your detox organs aren't where they're supposed to be, you're screwed. Because you got to get the good chemicals in and the bad chemicals out. That's health and wellness. It's, did you get the good chemicals your body needed in? Did you get the bad chemicals or the waste out? Your body is a chemical engine. If you want health, you have to start learning chemistry. You have to start understanding this is a chemical machine, this is a chemical engine, and if I don't understand what chemicals we need out and what chemicals we need in, you're never going to be healthy. And I don't care how you get them. If you're going to eat them from food, fantastic. If you're taking them from supplementation, fantastic. The bottom line is that you got to get the good chemicals in and the bad chemicals out. And so we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that, talking about why I take the supplementation I take. But that's the basis for my whole thing is good chemistry in, bad chemistry out, and people get healthy because the body was designed in a way where it knows how to fix itself, and it will fix itself if you just give it the chemicals it needs to fix itself. So told you to try to keep these to 10 minutes. I'm always going along. I apologize. So we're going to do questions on Friday. I've already got a bunch of stuff stocked out, so it'll be fun. But share these videos with your friends if you think it'll help. Anytime that we have more questions, we'll go a little bit more in depth on that. But I'll see you guys on Friday for that, and we'll drop the research then. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.